Hi, my name is Mike and welcome to my vlog about football in general and Burnley FC in particular. A vlog that this week would like to say hello to this subscriber who has clearly been stalking me for the last 30 years. And if you think I'm weird for saying that, I'm a YouTuber. I need the attention. Now, before I start, I'm just going to do something. We're actually going to promote something. Now, before I start, I have not been paid for this. I have not been paid to advertise this. I have not been given a free copy of this. I'm doing this purely because I have spent my own cash money on something Burnley FC related that I think might be of interest and I wish to promote. It is this. It is called From Protest to Promotion. It is a kind of 48-page fanzine stroke magazine stroke book containing some wonderful photos of Burnley FC, alongside the fans, the protests, inside and outside a Turf Moor, the players, all that from 1989 to 1992 by Clive Lawrence. As I say, I was just kind of interested in this because it forms it's about the time when I started becoming a Claret supporter, and I thought it was really, really good. I brought back memories, some not so good about the fashion, some great ones. There are some amazing action shots in there, but also some fantastic photos of the turf, of the fans at the turf, the way the turf was. People turn around and go, oh, football was better back in the day, and standing on the long side, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, there's a barbed wire on the long side in one of the photos. But I really liked it. I think it would be a really good Christmas present if for a Claret who likes that kind of thing. I'm not someone who's usually into nostalgia about football, about Burnley or whatever. I find books about football rarely tell me something I don't already know. This, being photos, was different, and I really enjoyed it. As I say, not getting paid for this. There is a link in the description below. It is not an affiliate link, so I'm not making money off it or anything like that. It's a straight link to buy it, and I would recommend it for Christmas. That's Protest to Promotion by Clive Lawrence. Really, really good. So with that out of the way, and I promise it wasn't a deflection tactic, no matter how much it feels like it. Palace, we lose 1-0 at home at the turf. Turf that was very, very quiet indeed, in a way that was so utterly predictable that I predicted it a year ago. A year ago, I did 51 weeks ago. Actually, I did the ranty one, the one where I went Steve Dangle kinda, the one where I basically turned around and said I could not wait for Scott Parker to leave. Didn't say he should be sacked. Important. I said I can't wait for him to leave because at the time I was frustrated at watching a team set up tactically that we had players on that team who had the potential to be championship winning or promotion winning players, and the tactical setup and the tactical approach was such that those players were never going to reach that potential. Felt it at the time, stand by every word of it, despite what happened. I'll come back to that in a sec. This time, same tactical setup. Do the players have the potential to stay in the Premier League? Well, if we carry on playing like this, we're never going to find out, are we? Because they are being inhibited. People said, oh, well, it'll get so much better. This time last year, they said it'll get so much better when he takes the handbrake off. Well, it kind of did. But that championship season, when you look at it statistically and from other perspectives, was such an anomaly. Horrible word to say. Anomaly. There we go. I'm going to leave that in. Because if you actually analyse that, Scott Parker became the first manager to get 100 points and not win a title in Football League history and Premier League history. We conceded a goal every 3 games. We set a new defensive record, 16 goals conceded in a year, and we still lost the title on goal difference. We scored 69 goals, which was 26 less than Leeds, by the way. 69 goals, nice. 23 of which came in 5 games. So for 41 matches, we scored 46 goals. Our top scorer scored 18. He played for 13 professional seasons. In the other 12 professional seasons, he scored a total of 36 goals. Yet he had that one season where he scored 18, which was, by the way, more than Zian Fleming and Lyle Foster combined. Yet we got 100 points, 33 unbeaten, but still losing out on goal difference. And that's the Scott Parker method for getting out of the Championship. If you look how he did it before at Fulham, Mitrovic, I think, scored like something stupid like 40 odd. Solanke scored 30. He rode that one player. And now we're seeing what happens when that one player ain't there. Now we're seeing what happens when, instead of relying on having better players, you are the other team has the better players every week in, week out. And everything that I said about the tactics last year, the fact that we don't look like scoring, we don't look like creating chances, we don't attack the byline, we have reverted to. We've gone back to that. And I wasn't just predicting that, I was predicting how we conceded, because we conceded exactly the same way that we did against Chelsea, and exactly the way that I pointed out in the Leeds vlog earlier this season, where I said the number of times there is a man over the far post waiting for a cross. Leeds couldn't take advantage, but better teams will. Well, we've seen it twice in as many games at home. Cross comes over, they've got a man over, Dubravka ain't coming for it, and if you've got an opposition fullback stooping to take a header in our 6-yard box, what the hell's going on? Someone said on Blue Sky, and they were absolutely right, that the way we played for 60 minutes was all nicey, dull, insipid, uninspiring dross. And I think he was being generous. That was sterile possession for the sake of it. That was players who were afraid. Players who had been sent out to be as cautious as possible in order to prevent losing. The problem is, once you concede a goal, you're screwed. Let's look at the tactical setup. Chowder in, got hooked at half-time. No idea what he was doing. Waste of his time and resources. Jadon Anthony gets benched for the entire game on Saturday and then gets straight back into a starting position. How? How's that work? And then does nothing for 60 minutes apart from lose the defender for the goal. We created one chance. Actually, we created, I think, two. We created one chance that Anthony had the shot and Henderson made one of those saves that makes it look more spectacular than it actually was. And there was also another chance where Anthony had the ball inside the 18-yard box and, because of the tactical setup, was back to goal. He was facing his, back to the goal, so he couldn't get the shot away. It was two sides who were waiting for the other side to commit. It was two sides that wanted to counter-attack. But Crystal Palace looked like a team that knew what it was doing when it was counter-attacking. And knew what it was doing from moment one. And it was all put out in front of an atmosphere that was absolutely dead. Absolutely dead. And one of the things I've kind of said that the managers should fear. Managers should not necessarily fear a crowd that is angry and booing. What managers should really be worried about is a crowd that is silent. Because at that point, your fans are apathetic to what you're doing, to what the team is doing. And I'm not going to go at the players too much again, because this is clearly the same as it was this time last year, where we'd failed to score at home to half of the bottom half of the division. And we're now, what was the last home goal we scored? Leeds, start of October? It's down to the manager. Can these players keep us up? I don't know, but if we keep on playing with this tactical structure, I don't think we're going to be able to find out. We'll never find out, because they're not being given a chance. And here's the thing, I sort of said I would give Scott Parker and the players a lot more slack than I did this time last year. And the justification with that was we were expected, had the budget, had the players to be a promotion-winning team, and so it proved, it turned out we were. And the manager was not letting that happen. This year, I've said it before, the Premier League is a tilted table. It is incredibly hard for Burnley to survive in the Premier League. I expect relegation at the start of every Premier League season. But as long as we give it a go, I'm happy with that. As long as we've done what we can, the manager has done what he can, the players have given the effort and done what they can, then I'm okay with relegation because of the way Premier League is structured. But is this manager giving it his best shot? Is this the best we can expect out of this manager? Oh, God, if it is. Well, maybe it is because, we saw it this time last year. And yes, everyone's going to go, oh, the second half of the season. No, we had 15 games out of 46 where we looked awesome. He'll change when they let the handbrake off. Well, why is the handbrake on now? We can't afford to keep the handbrake on any longer. And that's the thing, like I say, the atmosphere was dead. There is nothing to infuse the crowd at all. The Palace fans were singing their manager's name. Didn't hear anything from our side. That tells you a lot. That, to me, tells you a lot. You did not hear our manager's name being sung at home in an effort to kind of G the team up. Yeah, he made substitutions. And those substitutions made a difference. You know why those substitutions made a difference? Because he changed the tactics. Because we actually tried to score goals. We tried to get to the byline. We tried to put crosses in. We weren't putting crosses in from 10 yards back. This is one of the things I went off on last year, 51 weeks ago. We're putting crosses in from 10 yards ahead of the front of the 18-yard line because the area between the edge of the 18-yard box and the sideline is landmined at Gawthorpe. Don't go anywhere near that. But for 30 minutes, we actually decided to do that and looked like scoring. But what the hell? We spent 60 minutes getting to that point. 60 minutes and giving our team 30 minutes, our players 30 minutes to try and get back against a Crystal Palace team that, let's not forget, won the FA Cup last year. Those aren't mugs. Those aren't idiots. No, they didn't play well and they were there for the taking. And for 30 minutes, we tried to take them, but only for 30 minutes. Marcus Edwards comes on and does the one thing that Jadon Ante doesn't do, try to take on a man. Now, sometimes he got past, often he lost the ball. That's life at the Premier League, but at least he was having a go. Brun Larson, I think on his wrong wing, was having a go at his fullback. But he only started doing it with half an hour to go, even though he came on at half time. What is going on? What are we doing here? And I see the comments online about, defending the manager and all that kind of coming out with excuses. It's always, this time last year it wasn't his squad. Well, it is his squad now. Oh, well, Burnley don't have the money. Well, a couple of things. Are we making the most of what we got? Are we making the most of Florentino, who is a really good defensive midfielder? How the hell did we end up with him here? And Cullen. Ugo Chukwu. What's wrong with Ugo Chukwu? Chowder, raw, but you can see what's there. He's got Hardman. He's got Walker. Walker didn't have a great game yesterday. Walker had a terrible game yesterday. But it's a bad game. It happens. But probably because they've all got the fear of God in each other. Dubravka's great in the back. Fleming and Foster seem to work as a front two. They finally got an idea what to do with the front two and make those two work together. It's his squad. The only thing I'll say that in his defence around transfer business, because of the way that Burnley operate, because of the way we have to operate in terms of budget, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you reckon 36 million quid's worth of extra player would really go down well right now if we were able to spend another 36 million quid in the summer? Because I'm going to put 4 names out there. Humphreys, Fleming, Edwards, Anthony. 36 million quid. And we bought them in the summer. Because the reality of Burnley, the reality of being in the Championship is we have to live with FFP. I don't have a problem with FFP. I think it should be harsher in the Premier League. But we have to live within those constraints. And one of those constraints is loan to buy. So what we do is we loan players in who are going to get us out of the Championship, and then we have to buy them at the point at which they stop becoming useful. We're effectively spending the transfer budget buying top-level Championship players that we don't need anymore, because that is our way of staying compliant under FFP. I'm not going to use loophole or skirting around it or anything like that. It is just a valid approach. But that takes 36 million quid out of the transfer kitty to get us mid-level Premier League players. So what's the solution? There's a lot of chatter around sacking the manager. Do I want him sacked? Not going to commit to it. But here is the other thing. This is the interesting thing. People say he should stay. This is the argument against him staying, by the way. Scott Parker signed a 3-year contract in July 2024, so he's 18 months in. If someone turns around and says that, Parker should be given another year in the Championship, okay, that means he's going into a Championship season running out of contract. Because normally you renew a player's contract with at least a year to go, and a manager's contract with at least a year left. Because you don't want that manager or player to be out of contract should they be a success. So do you renew Scott Parker's contract in June, this 2026, the next coming June, despite the fact he just got us relegated and proved for the third season going that you can't keep a team in the Premier League? Do you still renew his contract? Or do you keep him on despite relegation? He's proved he can get the team out of the Championship, and we would be favourites to get out of the Championship back into the Premier League. And then at the end of the season, after that, do you let him go, or do you give him a new contract? So you basically kind of spending a year. That's assuming the guy wants to go for another Championship, by the way, which is not necessarily what he wants to do. So what do you do? Make the decision now. You've got to make the decision now. It's probably too late, really, before the transfer window in January. And if we were expecting some miracle to happen, a Marcus Edwards to happen in January, lightning's not going to strike twice. So you've got a manager that you've got to make a decision on. People go, give him another year in the Championship. His contract's up at the end of the expected Championship season. So why would you give him another year? Because then you've got to give him a 3-year contract, to fail in the Premier League again. And I don't I'm not the kind of sack the manager type. I'm not that knee-jerk type either. But I don't see us being in a situation where the manager's status in terms of contract makes any sense anymore. Because, let's put it this way, if we were 15th and playing decent football, then I'd be saying right now, why don't we talk about renewing his contract no matter what happens? But we're not. What is he doing now that says this guy's worthy of us paying him for another 2.5 years? Not seeing it. And I hate being the guy that is, here's the problem and I don't have a solution for you. But that's where I'm at. Where are we going with this manager? Where is the club going with this manager? Where are the players going with this manager? Where is the manager going? What are the board going to be doing? And I don't know the answer to that. And of course, if you do get rid of the manager, you've got to find someone suitable. And, well, don't know who's out there. Don't know who's right. See names. Always my worry is we've got, quotes, lucky. No, that's unfair. We've made the right call 3 in a row. Deitch, Company, Parker. How many clubs make it 4 in a row? So yeah, unhappy on this one. Bit frustrated, a lot frustrated with where we are, where we're going, what is the future holding. What do I have to look forward to? Because regular viewers of the vlog will know I tend to take a break over Christmas. Just with life and all that kind of stuff. Christmas is always a time where I take a break from a lot of things. Yesterday was the last game that I will see this calendar year. I will be back in the new year. So in the meantime, I wish you and your family a Merry Christmas and a great New Year. As I always say, 2026, if it doesn't bring you what you want, may at least bring you what you need. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for coming up and saying hello before, during, after a game. Genuinely appreciate it. If you like this one, click like. If you really like to, click subscribe. All that stuff, got to remember to do that occasionally. And in the meantime, whatever the next few weeks brings, up the Clarets.